What's going on, FBL fans? Mickey here, and today we are going to be going over our post-draft power rankings. And today I'm joined by.
Hey, it's Fitzblitz. What's good?
How's it going, me family and people of the FBL? See me here with the power rankings. Okay, so first off, I gotta say something. It was very difficult coming up with these power rankings, but us three, our combined power, we did three lists, then we combined them together, and we came up with the ultimate list. That pretty much resumes everything we've done so far with the power rankings. So from 1 to 16, that's our power rankings, and it should be on the screen right now. That's probably what's been advertised in the FBL chat since the very beginning. I want to say this is super legit. Unfortunately, it was, it started off of random.org. It was indeed randomized, so this is a fake list, and we'll go over our actual list in right a second.
Yeah, C.Me is a liar. Confirmed.
I am. Also, by the way, face reveal at the end.
Oh, keep them to the end.
Absolutely. All right, so who goes first?
I believe it is Jack.
Okay.
So we start at number 16?
Yes.
Alright, so I have the Cork City Palpitoads. It's Palpitoad. I put him there because I'm not a big fan of his draft. I only like a few of his picks. So yeah. Not a big fan of it, and I just don't think it will do too well.
All right, so I'm next at the very bottom of my draft list, or power rankings rather. I have the Block Island in front H, which is Aaron 2420. I put him at the bottom solely because he drafted Dunsparce. So yeah.
Okay, so for my number 16 pick, coach/team, I went, unfortunately, with the Groningen Goldex and Super Tsunarashi. And as we said, this was very, very hard to come up with because everything was it was counterbalanced. Of course, there's the Dunsparce that's just way down there, but still, it was really hard to place everyone, and it was really close. So the reason why Super is last is because I don't feel his draft, there's the Mega Gardevoir, there are a few powerful things like the Roserade, but at the same time, it's like, it doesn't necessarily synergize together well, and I'm not sure if he'll, make good use of the Spiritomb maybe, or the Tyrantrum as much as he could. We'll have to see, but, it doesn't stand out as much as other drafts, I say.
My number 15 is the Jacksonville Jirachis. Same thing with the last one. I don't really like the draft. Chansey is set up for. Don't really like Mega Sableye either. Or quite a lot of his mons. The only one I do like on his team is because it's scored.
So my number 15 pick was the London Lucarios, which is Tony. I didn't really like his draft too much. I feel like he has too many order types, personally. And also, while this is supposed to be based on the draft itself, I do know Tony pretty well, and I don't really think he's that good of a battler. So it's those two reasons combined put him lower on the list for me.
It's kind of harsh right there, but I guess I'll continue with my 15th pick, just because, I don't know, Tony. Well,
sorry, Tony.
I agree, but still, it's
love.
Poor Tony. Shout out to Tony, though. So my number 15 is IMD 23629, and the Washington Whiscash. Of course, I saw his draft plan prior to the draft. It was really an amazing team, and a few issues, but it was a very, very well synergized team, and he got sniped so many times, his draft kind of fell apart, and he got it back up at the end, but still, it lacks speed, offensive presence. It lacks a bit of a few things. Of course, Lee Vanny with Sticky Web does cover that, but without Lee Vanny, if he doesn't bring it, it kind of lowers the speed of his team, and maybe that's kind of an issue. There are also a few similar typings, so maybe not necessarily as much coverage as other teams.
So my number 14 is New England Patriots, and just looking at it, it is a pretty good draft, but I decided to put it down so low because Mega Anthros and some of his mons on his team don't really fit too well in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, that's why I put him so low.
So my number 14 pick was the Washington Wishcash. Pretty much what C.MeaX said. I felt like his team just didn't really have enough diversity, and plus, I don't really feel like Mega Steelix can really do a whole lot. So, meh. That's pretty much how I feel about his draft.
All right, so my number 14 pick is Doragon Gion, or the New England Patriots, or Adam. And I mean, Adam, he's not a very good player at all. Lando, T Bishop, Vaporeon, Hitmonlee, Shuckle. I mean, that's never gonna do anything. Mega Vapor and Mega Ampharos. It's really slow. It really doesn't do much, and it's really just bad. It's a very, very bad team overall. Everything is just really, really bad. And as Jack said, everything there. So yeah.
So my next one is number 13, the Houston Dynamo, with it has quite a lot of really big threats, but it's got Torkoal in there, Tangler, some ones that are probably going to let the team down. So I don't see it doing well. But yeah, maybe we can change that.
So for my number 13 pick, I have the Sydney Shifties. I just feel like his team has quite the big fire weakness with Amoonguss, Fortress, Registeel, and Sylveon. Even though it's not super effective, it still hits Sylveon pretty hard depending on what fire type the opponent has. And he has a really good Mega. I like Mega Lopunny a lot, but I just really wasn't impressed overall with his draft. Like, he has a few good, strong hitters, but I feel like it kind of peters off a little bit towards the end. So,
all right. So my number. Did you want to say something or?
No, I was just letting you know it's your turn.
Okay. So my number 13 pick is going to be Aaron 2420 and the Block Island Infernames. Now the reason why he's so low. First of all, I didn't want to include skill or past experience into my power ranking, so it's solely based on teams. But his teams, Aaron is really not that great of a player. I guess maybe he's okay, but his team is just it's slightly better than the other teams I've mentioned. But there's the Dunsparce, Sandslash, other things he's not really gonna do too well, and also the Sableye. If he brings Stall Sableye, it's really not gonna be too great.
So my number 12 pick is the Block Island Infernape as well. So as he said, I don't think Starmie was the best tier 1 pick. I'm not a big fan of Raichu either. Dunsparce is yeah, and I'm not a big fan of the Goth because I just don't, and never really works in draft format from what I've seen. So yeah, that's that.
So my number 12 pick is the Gorgon Gold Ducks. So I actually really liked his draft. Despite what C.MeaX said, he has a decent psychic type weakness from what I'm seeing from his mons. But other than that, I don't really see that his draft is really that bad. The reason that I have him so low is just because I personally don't think he's the greatest of battlers. Sorry. But also from what I know of him, he's also striving to get better. So I think that with his team, along with his want to win, could probably propel him further up the power rankings if he does well. So.
So my number, I believe, 12 pick is going to be Leviname and the Boston Keldios. So he has a really interesting team. He does have a sand team going, or at least a lot of things that work well with the sand team. But at the same time, there's just a lack of few things like the Autono. I guess it does work well with this team, but Togetic and Autono, they do basically the same thing. Then you get Bronzong and Durant. You get a lot of things that are repeated throughout the draft. Of course, there's Galvantula with the sticky web that maybe places him higher than other teams on the power rankings, but still, it's a really good team overall, but it does lack in a few things. And Mega Garchomp is maybe not the greatest pick as a Mega. Of course, it's kind of tough getting a really, really good Mega this draft, but still, Mega Garchomp might be even worse than Garchomp, I guess.
So my number 11 pick is the Oakland Arons and Lane Decay. I like the Talonflame and the Harlucha. I'm not sure how they're going to work together, but I'm not a big fan of the franchising Kieran, and he hasn't got an amazing fire type because Typhlosion, it's okay. He hasn't got really good fire water grass core either. It's not. He's got a few water types, and yeah, so that's that.
So yeah, my number 11 pick is I'm gonna need help saying this. Equalit Infernapes. How do you say that, friends? Help.
I believe it might be Ishaloids Infernapes, but
Okay.
even as a Canadian, I suck with technology, so yeah.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, sorry to mispronounce that so badly. His team is really, really bulky. With Clefable, Hippowdon, Umbreon, I think Magneton, Superior can hit really hard and stuff. I, it's a good team. Um, I honestly, I can't really say that I dislike it that much. I could see it putting in a lot of work. I just, my a lot of people, he can stall out, I guess, but I feel like he becomes very one dimensional with that kind of battling style, and that it could be easily countered depending on who he's facing. So, yeah.
Okay, so my next pick is the Flying Bird and the Sydney Shiftries. Now, the reason why, well, it's not necessarily so low anymore, it's kind of like in the middle, but that Mega Lopunny, it's a really, really good Mega, but at the same time, the rest of his team, there are a few good picks like Arcanine, Garchomp, Sylveon, but like there are other picks like Sneasel, it's kind of lacking maybe what Weavile has, or Almastar really needs setup to get going. Same with Diggersby. Slowking's kind of good, but there are a few things that are missing in his draft, and I believe that's why I put him at number 11. I believe, yeah.
So my number 10 is the London Lucarios and Tony. I'm not sure if he's good or not. I'm not really too familiar with a lot of these people, but he has like really good mons like Victini, Dragonite, Cresselia, Mega Blastoise. I actually really like Kieran Black, and yeah, he is lacking a little bit. I'm not a big fan of the Kingler, but that's about all I don't like about his draft is just the Kingler. So yeah.
Okay, so it's me. Sorry, I got distracted. At my number 10 spot, I have the Oakland Aarons, which is like Nikkei. I really like his team. Um, it's semi bulky, but not completely bulky. I think he has a really good mix of between bulk and power, in Talonflame and Hawlucha. The bulk being in Kyurem and Mega Aggron, and also Klefki can be really, really annoying to deal with. So, that's why I got him at number 10. I think Klefki could end up causing people a lot of trouble. So,
Okay, so my number 10 pick is going to be Tommy, aka ShuckX123, aka the Houston Tynamo, sorry, not Tynamo, Tynamo's coach, aka one of the two halves of Dragon Haksu. First of all, shout out to that channel. Please go subscribe to them. Adam and Tommy, really good people.
Stop.
So, Reliefile, not sure if it was worth franchising. There are a few mons. I didn't really look at skill much more of the teams, but at the same time, it's like a lot of the mons he drafted doesn't necessarily fit. Don't necessarily fit his playstyle. So there are a few mons that don't necessarily fit together. Aren't necessarily the maybe run and gun style he'd be running. And it's kind of a weird draft of like mons just picked up together trying to form a team with like not leftovers, but it's kind of weird in a bit. He does have the Mega Pinsir Alakazam, a lot of other good stuff, so that's why he's like in the middle basically.
So my number 9 pick is the Infernape. The other Infernape anyway. He has Clefable, which is really good in draft format. Umbreon, I actually really like that, even though a lot of people don't. Magneton, Emboar, Superior, Excadrill, Megaladius, Latios even, and Cfagorous. I like all of those. I like his entire draft actually. So yeah.
My number 9 pick is the Boston Keldios. As C.MeaX said, he can, if he wants to, run a decent sand team. He doesn't really have to, but I would say, the fact that a lot of his mons, or not a lot, but at least like 3 or 4 of his mons are kind of weak to water, that it could end up being detrimental to him, I think. So, but I do like his, Mega Garchomp is a really nice pickup, but he does kind of balance out the water thing between that and between Mega Garchomp and Tyranitar with Celebi, and yeah.
Okay, so my next pick is going to be It's Palpitoad or Palpy and the Cork City Palpitoads. I believe he has maybe a better team than last year or whatever. Anyway, he doesn't have as many weaknesses on his team or as many common weaknesses. It's a really, really balanced draft, but at the same time, I feel like it lacks a few offensive threats. There is Mega Charizard Y and Thundurus Incarnate and Goodra, which is a really defensive Pokemon. But at the same time, it's just the lack of offensive presence. It doesn't really stand out as a team, even though it's a really decent team.
So my number 8 pick is the Boston Keldios. I think this team is going to do really well with all the different things it can do. Garantula with sticky webs and Tyranitar is really good with Mega Garchomp as well. And the all-round team is just really good in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's going to do really well.
My number 8 pick is the Jacksonville Jiraachis. Just from while I was looking it over, because I had Mega Sceptile last season, a little soft spot. No, not really. But like I was saying with Legna's team, I think his team has decent bulk and has pretty good hitting power. But I think his team may do it a little bit better than Legna's, so that's why I have him at number 8.
So me, I put Legna and the Oakland Arons, kind of reverse the order that Dustin did. Mostly because his draft, there's really good synergy. It works really well together. There's offensive presence, defensive presence. Everything is there. It doesn't maybe stand out as much as other teams with the Mega Aggron. There are a lot of hidden threats, but his lower tier Pokemon are all really, really good picks. And I believe that's why he's so high on the list, or, smack down the middle, I guess.
So my number 7 pick is the London City Arcanines. They have a lot of really big threats like Manaphy, Rockmosh, Infernape, Ditto, Relunicus, which I'm using in my other league, which is really good. I'm not a big fan of Mega Altaria, but I love the Dewblade, Scolipede. Not a big fan of Play-Doh either, but most of his team I really, really like. So I think he's going to do pretty good. Yeah, so yeah.
At my number 7 pick, I have the Cork City Palpitoads. what it really boiled down to for me is that I think that, even though this is supposed to be based off the draft, I think that Darren can do really good with a lot of mons, even if they don't really necessarily flow well together. But with that being said, his what was I looking at? He has a really strong Mega and Charizard Y, which is complemented, I think, by Ferrothorn. So, eh, eh, eh. And he also has Zoroark, which can be, I think, used to really good ability if he disguises the right mon. So, just those few things, and have him up at number 7 for me.
Shout out to Sky Turner Silver and the London City Arcanines for actually recording this call and being in my number 7 pick. I believe he has a really, really decent team, especially the Ditto. It's a really, really low tier Pokemon, but it works so well. There's a Rotom Wash, Manaphy. He has a lot, he has a few types that, do the same thing, but at the same time, they're all really good threats. And Mega Altaria especially is an insanely good Mega. It does so many things. It can go physical, special, physically defensive, specially defensive, heal bell, Cleric, all these things. It's just amazing. Double-A Reuniclus, he's got a lot of recovery. He's got basically everything on his team, and that's why number 7.
So for my number 6, I have the C.MeaX Histories. Really, just a really good draft, I think. He's got Garchomp, Amoonguss, Arcanine, Registeel, Mega Lopunny, which is probably the best Pokemon in Draft League. Sylveon, Diggersby, which I think is quite underrated in the Draft League, but is really good. So I think I'm just gonna say I think he is going to make playoffs. Definitely, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, at number 6, I have the New England Patrats. First off, I really, really like his Mega Ampharos, my boy Fabio, along with being able to hit pretty hard, Volt Switch out if need be. He also has Landorus, lead Landorus, U-turn out, set up rocks, stuff like that. Along with Vaporeon, if he covers Landorus pretty well, face any water type, he can send Vaporeon in, and just things like that. Plus, he has Shuckle, which is can be insane to deal with, depending on how you have its defensive spread. If you need it to be especially defensive one week and then offensively defensive one week, or offensively defensive, just normal defense next week, it can do that. And I just feel like his team hits pretty hard. So yeah, that's why I got him up that high.
So next up, I have the Sneaky Sceptile and the Jacksonville Jirachis. Mostly the biggest reason why he's so high is because of that insane Mega Sableye, Alomomola, and Chansey core. If he pulls it off as well as A-Drive, this could be insane because Chansey and Mega Sableye cover each other perfectly. Also, he's got Volcanion, Nidoqueen, Flygon. A few mons that, he's got like Murkrow and Scrafty that aren't necessarily, that don't necessarily stand out, don't necessarily do much, but he does have the Nidoqueen, the Flygon, and the Cloyster, which are all amazing sweepers, late game. He does have, however, the Mawile, which is a little bit questionable, and I guess that's why he didn't go as up, but his team is really, really looking good.
So my number 5 pick is the Washington Wimjikash. I don't even know. Oh well. He has really quite a lot of threats. I think Mew, it can basically do anything that you want it to do. So it's not always a scary thing to go up against the Salamence. Lissy, I think it's better. It's just better than Chansey, and it's like, I think it's lower tiered. I don't know, so it's better. Renegade.
Oh, sorry.
But so someone else said Mega Steelix is, I think they said that it wasn't going to do too well, but I actually think it's going to do pretty well.
Oh, we taking shots now, friend? No, I'm just joking. So at my number 5 spot, I have the Houston Dynamos. Where are they at? Okay. Um, he's got he franchised Weavile, which whenever I found out, I was like, oh, made me kind of sad. But because I had Weavile last season. Anyways, he's got Mega Pincer, which is can be like a one-trick pony, but as hard as it hits, if you can get it in without rocks being up, anything like that, or get it in and get it able to set up, it really does just almost get an automatic kill. Then he also has Alakazam, which I think is an amazing mon. You can run it Focus Sash, you can run it Magic Guard, so you don't have to worry about Toxic, any kind of status. Like I was saying with Focus Sash, you get it in, let it eat a hit, and deal damage, enough damage back so it's getting at least a 2 attacks in. And on top of that, Weavile is a really, really good mon. Just hits hard, at Dark type, really strong. And then he also has Suicune, which I don't want to talk about.
Suicune, yeah.
Shut up.
All right, so I believe it's my turn now, or?
Yes, it is.
Okay, right. So next up, well, enough with the Suicune and the Sweet Dose, but Shield Phoenix and the Ishalwit Infernape are next. With Clefable, one of the best Pokemon in League format. He does have the Hippowdon and the Excadrill, so he does have that sand going for him. The Gyarados, which is insane, Umbreon, Cofagrigus, Hariyama, and Mega Latios, which is an insane offensive presence. It can even go especially defensive with some Calm Mind, or, it can have, I believe it gets Memento. Yes, Latios gets Healing Wish, it gets Memento. So you can run a lot of cheeky sets with that. Superior, Good Sweeper, Emboar, just straight power, Magneton, Cradily. A few, like Cradily and Magneton, maybe slightly less, threatening, but all the other Pokemon are really, really threatening, and it's a really, really decent team overall.
So my number 4 is Shimmy 15 and the Brooklyn Braviaries. He has a lot of really scary mons, like Latias, Blitzcore, Rotom Heat, Snorlax, Mega Sizzle, Shaman, Haxorus. All of them are really scary. Also, Fletchinder is pretty good. So I think he's going to do really well if he uses this draft to the best that he can. Yeah.
So at my number 4 spot, I have the Minnesota Minions. I just look at his team and I'm like, I just feel like this can do work. Like, he has a wide variety of different types, I feel like, along with, I guess we can start with the Mega Sceptile. Like he had for his Empoleon, now it has Lightning Rod. Once it Mega Evolves, he has Crocodile, so he doesn't have to really worry about any kind of electric type attacks along with Groudon. Also, Gardevoir hits hard. I really like it a lot. And where'd it go? Smeargle. It's almost guaranteed to get up rocks if you really want it to, if you run Focus Sash. So he has a really strong team, along with pretty much definite hazard setup. So that's why I got him up this high.
So I too went with Sid and the Minnesota Minions for the number 4 spot. Everything just covers each other so well, and he doesn't even need Smeargle. Smeargle is an amazing Pokemon by itself, and he doesn't necessarily need the Sticky Web or the Stealth Rock on his team, but it's there, so it adds up to the insanity. He does have the Gastrodon, or as Dustin said, the Groudon. Mismagius.
Crap.
Hitmonchan, the Mega Sceptile. Mega Sceptile is insane, and I believe it wasn't a Mega last season, so we're going to see how it'll go pretty well, I believe. Skuntank, Empoleon, Crocodile franchise, an amazing Pokemon. Volcarona and Scizor cover each other perfectly, so it's just a really good team overall.
So my number 3 are the Golducks. He's
Gorgon.
got Gorgon.
Yeah.
Golducks. Cool. And he's got a Zoomer Magnezone, which I've used before, and it's pretty good. Roserade, Hitmontop, really nice rapid spinner. Miltank's very bulky. Torterra is nice for the rocks and other stuff. Mega Gardevoir is it's good Mega. Entei is like really good in draft format. Espeon is also very good for keeping the rocks away. And Tyrantium is just a powerhouse. Crobat is really good, very fast, and very powerful. The Brave Bird and Spiritomb can be used pretty well with the team, I think. So yeah, I think this team's gonna do really well.
So at my number 3 draft, or power ranking spot, I have the London City Lucarios. Personally, I just feel like his draft itself was probably the most well-rounded. He's got Manaphy, which in draft format, if you know your team, you can pretty much prepare it for anything. Rotom Wash, Switch Initiative, Infernape hits really hard. Ditto, if you you know go in against a mon that's set up, if it has it's not transform. What's it called? Anyway, it's other really I don't remember.
Imposter.
Imposter. It automatically gets its stats, so you almost definitely get a kill. Metacham, fake out, not get chip damage and stuff like that off need be. Yeah. And he also has a really, I feel like, underrated Mega, and Mega Altaria has is topping and Dragon and Fairy is really nice, I believe. All it's really weak to is Poison, I think. And then also Reuniclus. I love Reuniclus. Good lord, I love Reuniclus. Anyway, so with all that in mind, that's why I got him at 3.
So my number 3 spot is going to be for Tony Q, or the London Lucarios. Now, as I said, this isn't based on necessarily skill or anything like that. This is based solely on the teams. At least for my draft, I went solely with the teams. Tony did improve over the course of the last season, but he's the kind of player to maybe close his eyes when he clicks a move and misclick a few times.
That's true.
He's the type of people to also, I don't know, make small mistakes here and there. But he has an insane team. And if we could talk about his team, Victini, Dragonite, Cresselia. Why is Cresselia tier 3? It should be tier 0 or -1 at least. It is insane. Chestnut, Regirock, Kingler, Mega Blastoise, Kieran Black, Hoopa, Rhydon, Uxie, Venusaur. There is no weak Pokemon on his team. Everything is insane, either defensively or offensively. And Mega Blastoise is a really, really solid pick in my opinion. Maybe not the best like with some other teams, but it's really well-rounded, and it offers rapid spin, Scald, all these things. Really good team overall. Absolutely amazing.
So at my number 2 spot, we have the Minnesota Minus. Really good draft there. Physically and defensively is kind of you got Scissor, Volcarona, franchise Crocodile. I can't never say this. Crocodile, I don't even know. Empoleon, Smeagol, Stunk Tank, Megaceptor, Gardevoir, Zapdos, Gastron is one of my favorite Pokemon. It's godlike. Miss Maggie's Hitmonchan. He's got a lot of hazard control, which I really like. Megaceptor, I'm not too sure about, but I think the rest of his draft is like really good. So I think he's going to put in work with this team.
All right, so my number 2 pick is honestly the number 1 and number 2 picks were a complete toss-up for me. While both of their drafts were really, really good, I honestly have my 1 and 2 picks up top because I do believe that they are the best battlers in the league and that they can make any team that they have work to their advantage probably the majority of the time. Even though that neither one of them did win the FBL Season 1. But anyways, at number 2 I have Xiaomi 15. And, as I said, that's pretty much why. because I can't have 2 number 1 picks. So anyway, C.MeaX.
Okay, so my number 2 pick is going to be Xiaomi 15 and the Brooklyn Breviaries as well. So again, I didn't pick by skill, just by team. But if you're a skilled battler, you might as well pick a really good team, and that's probably what happened with the first 2 picks, I guess. But Xiaomi has such an amazing team. He does have the Mega Scizor, which only has 1 weakness, but he has so many things to cover for that weakness. And also, he got rid of his main weakness for last season, Rotom Fan. It's not there anymore. He doesn't have that weakness. He has Rotom himself to counter that. The only issue with his team I see a really, really, common weaknesses on his team. He has one big weakness, and that is green tea, which unfortunately doesn't doesn't cut it for pick number 1. But his team is amazing.
Yeah, but with what you said though, Xiaomi didn't actually draft his team last season because he came in halfway. So
yeah, that is true. That is true. That would explain the Rotom weakness, but this season it's a green tea weakness. But I'm not there, so he's gonna do well.
Friend, Electroweb. Anyways.
Well, he does have his Rotom. He can do that all day long now.
I was talking about it. Anyways, go ahead, Jack.
So my number 1 pick is the Austin Zubats. Is a nice hacks. Top 2 is Mons, Jirachi, and Togekiss. Hydreigon, nice. In my opinion, one of the best dragon types in the game. Cobalion, nice for Stealth Rocks and other stuff. Dugtrio is got Arena Trap. Arena Trap, Choice Scarf is really nice. Whirlipede, it's Whirlipede. Mega Venusaur, one of the best megas in OU, in my opinion, anyway. And Jolteon is really nice because it's like really fast electric type, and one of my favorite electric types to use in draft format. I used it before, did really well. Domanitan is just nuke. Seismitoad is nice for rocks stuff, other stuff. Tornadus T, it's really hard with Hurricane. Regenerator is very nice to have with it as well. And Gourgeist is it's nice to have, I guess. Nice spin blocker. Yeah, so yeah, really nice team.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I also have him at my number 1 spot. He does have a really nice team. I guess I should talk about it to sound more professional. He can, if he wants to, hacks a lot, but he's already stated several times that he's not going to do it just to hacks people, but I guess we'll see. But I do feel like that, like I said last time, it's just I couldn't have 2 number 1 spots, so so sorry. Your turn, C.MeaX.
Okay, so I think we can all agree on something here. While we did do our power rank separately, we all came to the conclusion that Night Spear's team, or Ben's team, or the Austin Subats, the team was just too overpowered. It was, good enough to stand out between all the other teams and actually end up as number 1. And I believe, he doesn't have Cancer Core anymore, but he has Cancer Flinch now. Cancer Flinch is the new trend. He's got Jirachi. Even if Jirachi goes down, did enough hacking, goes home, Togekiss is there, and even if those 2 go down, like, he has a full roster just to support that. All the mons are insane. Even Gourgeist, very, very underrated wall. I mean, Garchomp versus Gourgeist, and Earthquake does about like 20%. Gourgeist can, take all the moves all day long. Gourgeist is an insane physically defensive wall. And I don't know if he can switch between the forms, but, Gourgeist can do a lot. And every Pokemon there, Seismitoad for the Water Absorb, Darmanitan, Tornadus T, Jolteon, Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur is an amazing Pokemon to have, an amazing Mega to have in a league format because it just doesn't have that many weaknesses, and it does so much. It's so bulky. Then you got Whirlipede, Dugtrio, Cobalion, Hydreigon. All these mons that come together that are just like really, really insane. It might not be a Mega Metagross team like I had, but it's powerful, definitely.
And so, with that, guys, that has been our post-draft power rankings. If you guys have enjoyed them, please leave a like. And if you are hyped for season 2 of the FBL draft, please subscribe and also check out all of the coaches. They are on the main YouTube channel page. And until next time, guys, this has been Straw Hat Mankey. And you guys say your names.
True. Well, first of all, subscribe
Are
to
we
all the
not done?
people.
Are we not?
Subscribe
I
to the
want to
people
see
in
that.
the FBL, but also subscribe to the analysts. I mean,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
here on this channel. We're bringing videos for you guys, and I really, really hope you enjoyed them. We're gonna be bringing a few, I guess, over the course of this season. So stay tuned for more videos. I'm C.MeaX, not your coach of the Blaster X Blaze It game.
Yo, true. Jack, it's your turn.
I'm C.MeaX. Nice talk. Yeah.
Goodbye.